What's up guys, it's Lionel the Builder back again with another video, and today we're gonna do something that I'm gonna call live learning. A friend of mine said they'll be around for story time all day, but will they be around when you start teaching? I don't know. We're gonna test that right now, and I think I'm gonna call this video something like learning how to code with GPT. I already started a little bit, and then I paused and I said, you know what, this may be a teachable moment. Maybe we could teach somebody with this one. I'm using Firebase documentation mixed with ChatGPT and my secret prompt called explain with real world analogies. It's awesome. So far we've covered HTTP, HTTPS, and what was the third one? Identity tokens. Let's get into it. Let me show you guys. Here we go. Here's documentation right here. The top says, and now what am I trying to do? This is for a project that I'm working on, right? Where I'm a full stack web developer who in theory should know this type of stuff already, right? We're not gonna talk about that if I know it or not. I mean, I've used it, I've worked with it. We all have worked with code without fully understanding it. But as I always say, right, when you get hired, when you get your position, embrace continuous learning. We could always do better. We can always understand things deeper. That's the mission that I'm on for this year. From now to the rest of the year, I want to 10x my skill set and understanding of these things that we work with. So I'm like, whenever I come across a word that I don't fully understand, I'm gonna talk to ChatGPT about it. So let's do that live without any further ado. Sorry for the long intro. Verify ID tokens. If your Firebase client app communicates with a custom backend server, you might need to identify the currently signed in user on that server. To do so securely after a successful sign-in, send the user's ID token to your server using HTTPS. Then on the server, verify the integrity and authenticity of the ID token and retrieve the UID from it. You can use the UID transmitted in this way to securely identify the currently signed in user on your server. So that's a mouthful, but what does it mean? So then I came over here to not that one, to here, to ChatGPT, right? Can you, and this is my code mentor, I probably got more custom GPTs than anybody that you've seen. Who has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, 7 of these things? Anyway, sure, let's imagine the HTTP, I forgot to read the question. Can you explain HTTPS to me with analogies in a simple way to understand? See, with analogies is the key to unlock ChatGPT's ability to tie things to real world concepts, which is the best way for me to understand something. Sure, let's imagine that HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, is like sending a sealed secured letter instead of a regular postcard. Regular HTTP is like sending a postcard through the mail. You write your messages on it and it gets sent from your house, your computer, to your friend's house, the website, via the postal service, which is the internet. However, because it's a postcard, anyone who handles it along the way can read what's written on it. This isn't great for private information. HTTP, so that's hypertext transfer protocol without the S, right? Where it's not private yet, it's not secure. You throw in that S on there. HTTPS, on the other hand, is like sending a letter in a sealed secure envelope. Before sending, you put the letter in the envelope and seal it, making sure it's secure. This envelope is then sent through the postal service. Even though the envelope goes through many hands, nobody can read your letter because it's sealed. Only your friend has the means, which is a unique key, to open the envelope and read the letter. This is similar to how HTTPS encrypts data before it's sent over the internet, ensuring that only the intended recipient can decrypt and read it. To add to this analogy, imagine you have a secret code that only you and your friend know. Even if someone managed to open the envelope, which is very difficult, they wouldn't understand the message without the secret code. This is similar to encryption keys used in HTTPS, which help ensure that even if data is encrypted, it cannot be understood without the proper keys. In summary, HTTPS is a secure way to send information across the internet, ensuring that only the sender and the intended recipient can access and understand the data being transferred, much like sending a sealed, encoded letter instead of a postcard. So y'all got that, right? I know I was just reading ChatGPT, but let's talk about it a little bit, right? HTTPS is like the postal service, but the postal service being the internet, you're sending stuff, and the protocol, hypertext transfer protocol, in that sense, is the mail, whatever the message is, whatever the request is, right? Or I guess it could be a post, it could be a get, it could be, what's the other ones? Create, update, right? What's the D stand for? Delete? Okay, and then, okay, I said perfect. Now explain ID tokens. The reason I said that was because that's what I'm doing right now, for my project. And I went straight to the documentation as per my lead developer's recommendation. He said documentation will be your superpower as a web developer. Reading the documentation will be your superpower. And so getting back to where we were with this one, we're trying to verify ID tokens. And if your Firebase client app communicates with a custom backend server, which ours does, our backend server is Firestore, front end is React, written with TypeScript. You might need to identify the current signed in user on that server, right? Think about that. Your backend is your database. So in our example, right, I'm creating, see, I have made quite a few cloud functions so far, right, on the backend side. One of them being, let me pull it up. I'll pull it up real quick. I'm reading the code myself just in case I got some secret keys or something in here. But so we have I made a create tenant, which is tenant meaning like company, updating that one, switching from one tenant to another, creating a user document, which is basically the user who signed into our website, right? Y'all understand that whenever, or I guess depending on what the structure of your app, the structure of your backend, with ours, every user is basically a document. So when you fill out the input forms in the sign up, username, last name, you're basically a document that's created in the backend. And I've already completed that function, right? What else we got here? Updating that document, deactivating a user, deleting a work item. So all of these are functions that we have already made, but we have not made any HTTPS ones yet, right? So there's a difference, and that's when I ran into that CORS issue, because now you're tapping into the postal service, you're tapping into the internet versus everything else. I might seek clarity with ChatGPT on that one too, right? To do so securely after a successful sign-in, send the user's ID token to the server using HTTPS. Then on the server, verify the integrity and authenticity of the ID token. So that's where we get full stack. We're gonna make sure that we're sending. Well, when they log in, we're gonna pull their ID token, right? And then we're going to send it to the back end, capture it, catch it over there, look at it, verify it, and then proceed properly from there. You can use the UID transmitted in this way to securely identify the currently signed in user on your server. Note, many use cases for verifying ID tokens on the server can be accomplished by using security rules for the Firebase real-time database and cloud storage. See if those solve your problem before attempting to verify ID tokens yourself. That's interesting. I'm gonna go with the other way instead of just using security rules, but definitely something to look into. The ID token verification methods included in the Firebase admin SDK are meant to verify ID tokens that come from the client's SDK. SDK stands for Software Development Kit, not the custom tokens that you create within the admin SDKs. See auth tokens for more information. I'm gonna look into that later on too. All right, so let's go over anything that we don't fully understand here. Take it slow. We'll make this like more than a one-part series. You know what I mean? Where we at? 10 minutes. Okay, so we got good time. So what was I about to do? Oh, I want to ask. So I'm gonna take my Cloud Functions folder, right? And I'm gonna post it just to give a further explanation. Well, wait. Before I do that, I forgot that I said, perfect, now please explain ID tokens. Certainly. Let's use concert ticket analogy to explain ID tokens in a simple and relatable way. See, now that I used analogy in the first one, now it's doing it automatically, which is dope. Imagine you're going to a concert. To enter, you need a ticket. This ticket has specific information about you, the attendee, such as your seat number, the gate you should enter through, and sometimes even your name. This ticket is checked at the entrance to ensure it's valid and belongs to you, granting you access to the concert. In the digital world, an ID token functions similarly to this concert ticket. When you log into a website or app, you provide your credentials like your username and your password. Once the site verifies that you are who you say you are, it issues an ID token. This ID token contains information about you, the user, such as your username, email address, and sometimes roles or permissions you have within the app or service. Here's how ID tokens work step by step. Log in. You log in to a website or app, and then verification. The site checks your credentials to ensure that they're correct, and then issuance. Once verified, the site generates an ID token, which is like your digital concert ticket. This token is encoded with specific information about you. Usage. Whenever you want to access a protected part of the website or app, you present this ID token, much like showing your ticket at a concert. So when you click your settings page, for example, and you see all of your personal information, you're basically looking at your user document and different tokens and permissions and shit that you have, information that they have saved. And then also, say you wanted to what app are we talking about? Like, say we're talking about Facebook, for example. You wanted to view a private album to yourself. You know what I'm saying? They're going to check your token. I'm guessing. I'm just guessing at that point, but I assume something like that, right? Validation. Your site checks the ID token to make sure it's valid and grants you access based on the information contained in the token. Just like a concert ticket, the ID token is proof that you've been authenticated and are allowed to access certain services or resources. It's important to note that ID tokens should be kept secure, as they can provide access to your personal data and services within an app or website. Additionally, these tokens are often short-lived, meaning they expire after a certain period, requiring you to log in again, much like how a concert ticket is only valid for one specific event or specific date. This helps improve security by ensuring that even if someone gets a hold of your ID token, they can only use it for a limited time. So I'm gonna go ahead and post my code in here real quick. I'm gonna say, why with all of my other cloud functions, I've never had to learn about or use HTTPS yet until now, when I'm what are we doing with this one? Creating a new user via form. Is it because I need to verify authentication? Like, I know this. I'm just, trying to show y'all how to learn with ChatGPT and see what they say. I'm very curious about what it says about the other functions I've made so far and the difference between them and this one, now that it's an HTTP request function, right? But because I need to verify authentication of the user for my project and such. The transition from not using HTTPS explicitly in your Firebase Cloud Functions to needing it for operations like creating new user via a form indeed ties back to the requirements for secure communication and authentication. Let's break down why HTTPS and authentication become crucial, especially in operations like user creation and data manipulation, security and data protection. When you're dealing with sensitive operations like creating a user, you're handling personal information. This information must be transmitted securely to prevent interception by malicious actors. HTTPS ensures that data sent between the client, the user's browser, and the server, your Firebase functions, is encrypted and secure. Authentication and authorization. Authentication is about verifying who a user is, while authorization is about verifying what specific actions a user is allowed to perform. Excuse me. When creating a new user or modifying sensitive data, you need to ensure that the request comes from an authenticated source with the proper permissions. This is why you see the need for token verification in your create user via form function. Use case and complexity. In similar cloud functions where you might just read public data or perform non-sensitive operations, the need for HTTPS and explicit authentication might not be as pronounced. However, when you start dealing with personal data, creating user accounts, or performing actions that change the state of the database or authentication system, the security requirements increase. Compliance, regulations, and best practices around data protection like GDPR in Europe, CCPA in California, mandate secure handling of personal information. Interesting. Using HTTPS, ensuring proper authentication and authorization are part of complying with these regulations. They got the internet police? I didn't know that. Why now? Creating a user via a form, this operation involved collecting potentially sensitive information from an untrusted source, the internet, and using it to create a user in your system. This process must be secure to protect the information and ensure the operation is requested by someone who is authorized to perform it. Someone authorized to perform it. My bad, I was looking for the is there. Authentication checks. Your function needs to check if the request to create a user comes from an authenticated source. This could mean checking an ID token as you've outlined in your authenticate middleware. Without such checks, anyone could potentially create users in your system, leading to unauthorized access or abuse. Summary: the shift to using HTTPS and incorporating authentication checks in your cloud functions for sensitive operations like user creation is a natural progression as you develop more complex and secure applications. It's about protecting user data, ensuring secure communication, and verifying that only authorized actions are performed within your system. Sweet. Where were we? Before you begin, well, let's talk about Firebase Admin SDK. Can you explain Firebase Admin SDK? We're going through it all, man. I'm gonna break this up into like parts. I can already tell this is probably getting to the point where we need to give some people a break and such, right? 18 minutes. Sure. Think of the Firebase Admin SDK as a special set of tools in a master keychain, allowing you behind the scenes access to all the doors within your Firebase project. This keychain is not given to everyone, only those who manage and maintain the Firebase project, like developers and administrators. Let's break it down into the parts to understand it better. The master keychain would be the admin SDK. When you're building applications, there's often a need to perform operations that should not be done by just any user. For example, you might need to securely create or modify user accounts, access database information directly, or send notifications to the user. The Firebase Admin SDK is like a master keychain that gives you, the developer, the ability to perform these administrative tasks securely from your server or development machine. Special keys. Features of the admin SDK, and that's the keychain. The keychain admin SDK has various keys, features, including user authentication. You can create new users, modify existing users, and manage sessions directly. It's like having a master list of all the attendees of an event where you add or modify the list as needed. Database access. Directly access and manipulate your Firestore or real-time data. Imagine having direct access to all the storage rooms in the building, allowing you to organize and manage contents without going through the main doors. Cloud messaging. Send notifications or messages directly to users' devices. It's akin. I love how they're tying like the obvious things too, but let's just go through it all, man. You never know who's learning from this, you know. Modifying access permissions. Think of it as having a master control to all safes of the bank, allowing you to manage their content securely. Behind the scenes access. Unlike actions performed by users through a client app, which are limited for security and integrity reasons, operations done through the admin SDK have elevated privileges. This means you can perform tasks without the same security restrictions that apply to client apps. It's crucial, therefore, to use the admin SDK responsibly and ensure that only authorized personnel can access these powerful capabilities. Here are a few scenarios where the Firebase admin SDK shines. Automating user management. Bulk creation of user accounts for new class in an online education platform. Secure data manipulation. Running maintenance scripts to clean or migrate data in your database without exposing sensitive operations to client-side risks. Server-side logic. Implementing complex business logic on the server, like processing payments or handling sensitive information which shouldn't be exposed to the client side. Integrations. Integrating Firebase features with other server-side applications like synchronizing Firebase user data with CRM system. Are y'all realizing the power that we have at our fingertips with Firebase admin SDK at this point? Like, you could literally build anything if you take the time to go through the documentation, to build these things out, to Google and look up in ChatGPT everything that gets confusing to you. You know what I'm saying? With that, dude, it's all about putting in the work at that point, right? Security and responsibility. Given its powerful nature, access to the admin SDK should be tightly controlled. It's like having a master key. You wouldn't want to fall in the wrong hands. Ensure that any environment where the admin SDK is used is secure and that its uses complies with your application securities policies. Conclusion. In essence, the Firebase admin SDK gives you a powerful and secure way to manage and control your Firebase project directly, allowing for a wide range of administrative tasks that cannot or should not be performed from the client side. It's an essential tool in the developer's toolkit for managing back-end aspects of Firebase applications. All right, before you begin, to verify ID tokens with the Firebase admin SDK, you must have a service account. Follow the admin SDK setup instructions for more information on how to initialize the admin SDK with the service account. All right, so I think this is a good part one. I feel like 20 minutes is probably good enough. Not only that, this light is extremely bright. I'm gonna try and dim this a little bit and kind of like chill and continue here. But what I will do is I will put this as part one, and I have no problem with continuing on this path later on if I see the demand for it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to put videos out that the community does not find value in it, and I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? Like, but you never know until you try. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know if this was, a good idea. If you guys want to see me do this more often, if you guys want me to continue, we could pick up right where we left off. Shit, we can go through all of Firebase documentation. I know I'm going to in my free time. My only question is, am I going to turn all of this on and do that or not? You know what I mean? And if I was, it would be for you guys, for the digital builders, because that's what we're doing this year. We're increasing our understanding. We're leveling up. We're learning how to freelance, break into the industry. We're building cool apps. Anyway, man, if we can't get a job, we're going to make our own job. We're going to make our own software. We're going to do whatever we can. Like, share, subscribe. Links are in the description. Drop a comment. Let me know if you found value in this. We're going live Saturday. I'll see y'all there. I'm Lionel the Builder, and I'm out.